So 10 years in 10 cities, and then all of a sudden you started going into this hyper growth mode and opening tons of them. Like, what clicked? Like, how come you're all of a sudden able to go really fast?
Interesting they asked that. So in the first 10 years, I moved to 10 cities, opened up 10 stores. I joined Young Presidents Organization, YPO. YPO said the entrepreneur has to hire professionals to run their company once they built the company. So in 1993, I made $1 million. I had $1 million in the bank. I didn't have any debt because I didn't know how to get debt. I didn't know how to make a business plan. I didn't know what it was. Right. Saved up my money and opened up another store. So I hired some professionals to run my franchise business. I ran the company store. So from 93 to 03, I took my 10 stores to 25 and took the franchise from 0 to 200. And this is a story. 03, I got 200 stores open and 70 are failing.
Wow.
And so, and my 25 stores, my sales were skyrocketing, and my franchise stores were. So James, who's the president of the company right now, his name is James North. He told me, he said, Jimmy, we got to stop selling franchises. And I was addicted to the franchise fee and the royalty. I wasn't sticking the key in the door.
Yeah.
He says, we got to go on the road. We're going to stop selling. We got to go turn around these 70 failing stores. If we don't go do this, we're not going to have anything to sell.
Yeah.
So I just had, my kids were 3 and 4, my natural children. I adopted my son Spencer, who was in first grade, and I had to go back. I've been on the road for 20 years, and now I'm going to go back out on the road again, after just getting married and having kids. And so we did it, and we went on the road, and we turned around 63 of those 70 stores by hand. And after we did that, my 25 stores were making me $4.5 million a year. We turned around those stores, and I said, I don't want to do this ever again. So I sold people one store at a time. And if they liked it, we liked them, and it worked, I'd give them more stores. And I said, you know what?
Don't let them scale all of a sudden something's not working.
Yeah, and also sell them to, but if my criteria prior to this journey was, if you had a check and a pulse, I took your money.
Yeah.
Okay. After I went on the road for 18 months and turned around 70 restaurants, it changed a lot. I really want to know who they were. I told them the truth about the business, how hard it was. It really is difficult. It's not fun.
You got to work on it.
It's nights, it's weekends, it's sacrifice. Yeah, you got to work on it.
Your 63, that's 90% of them. The 7 you couldn't turn around. What was the difference?
The 7 were just, the owners are just like, you got to feed these cattle? I thought you just buy the cows and they grow themselves.
Yeah, they weren't willing to work on it.
Yeah, they didn't want to work on it.
And what states were these in mostly? Where did you guys build out?
Really, that was really Midwest. Wisconsin, Minnesota, Indiana, Kentucky, Iowa. Really just the Midwestern area. We grew pretty much Midwest. We stayed away from the coast.
Amazing. And were there any other traits of like successful managers, successful franchise owners? Like what kind of people were you looking for at the end of the day after you really started to scale?
At the end of the day, I was really looking for people that really genuinely loved the product, or I thought they loved the product, and that also understood that process and procedure is really the way to go. And if you love the product and you follow the process and procedure, pilots that use checklists typically live longer than pilots that don't. Mm-hmm. And people that, once they put process and procedure on a pedestal and they love the product, it was a no-brainer. It printed money.
And speaking of loving the product, I don't know if this is appropriate to tell you. You can censor it if it's not. But my friends were on a plane with you, a private plane. You were being served Jimmy John's on the private plane, which I thought was amazing. So you clearly still love the product.
I clearly still love the product. It's a great product. The product is good, right?
That's funny because you could have anything in the world clearly at this point, and you're eating your own stuff on the plane. I think that's awesome.
Thanks, buddy.
Yeah. I want to ask about a couple other hot topics going on right now in policy world.
Yeah.
What's your take on the minimum wage debate? Like first of all, you've made a lot of these managers and owners millionaires. You've created huge numbers of millionaires.
Hundreds of them.
Hundreds of millionaires, which is an awesome thing. It's something I'm very proud of from Palantir as well. When you bring people together, you work hard and have all these people creating wealth. So you obviously proud of creating all this wealth.
Yeah.
But, and you obviously want people to live well. But like, is minimum wage a good thing to help people make more? Is it break things? Like, what are your thoughts on that?
Well, I think minimum wage is a destroyer of the free market. I think that the free market should determine everything. The free market should determine what the wage should be. Let the market determine it. If the free market determines it's $28 an hour, let the free market determine it's $28 an hour. But when the government goes in and sets it, I'm strongly against the minimum wage. I'm strongly against any oversight, not any oversight. I'm sure things have to be oversighted, but when you come into a mom and pop business that's doing $500,000, $100,000 a year. You know, they literally oversighted the businesses out of business, right?
Yeah.
The model's not what it is anymore.
Yeah. So the market will determine it, and people, if they start lower up, then they'll probably end up growing and making more over time. Is that what happens? People come at a certain level and they'll get paid more if they're doing really well?
Absolutely. I mean, 14 of 17 department heads at Jimmy John's that became millionaires when I sold through stock, they all came from the sandwich shop, Joe.
Wow.
So that was when we sold the company. But yeah, and not only you start out as a sandwich, we never wanted people ever to come and be a full-time sandwich maker. Being a sandwich maker was the beginning of your journey.
That's how you go
out of
up.
poverty, and you become a sandwich maker, you become an assistant manager, you become a manager, you become an area manager, and then you could grow into the business. But I hate damn minimum wage. It destroyed our model, and it just f***ed it all up.
Seems like it does destroy, like they say it's like taking the low rung of the ladder out so that people on the bottom can't work their way up because they can no longer even start off if they're not worth, the higher salaries.
Oh, for sure. And look at all the little bodegas in New York City now, and you got those beautiful bodegas in every side street in New York City. It's now a blue box truck.
Yeah.
What's prettier to look at? A little bodega with all these different cultures, all these different products, and all this different action going on, or a blue box truck. And look, right? The blue box truck is taken over. I mean, I use Amazon all the time, but still.
No, it's got a little bit sad.